But if you look at the last 35 years up to 2015, about 1.2 trillion ounces of platinum, 1.2 trillion rands worth of platinum, 221 million ounces was produced in that particular period. And the impacts and the value distributed by the industry were very significant at procurement level, at a tax level, at an employment level, et cetera, et cetera. But over the last 10 years, the platinum sector has been in a very challenging situation. The minister doesn't like us using the word crisis, but the reality is the industry has been through a significantly challenging period with costs rising faster than inflation and revenues not doing the same, with the exception of what's happened to palladium more recently. And so if you think about it, a lot of the metrics of the sector up until about 18 months ago, 15 months ago, a lot of the financial metrics were all turning south. Employment had declined from a peak of about 220,000 people down to 168,000 people. We still produce 270 tons of platinum, valued at 105 billion rand, about $7 billion. Margins were negative on average in general, and CAPEX was about $1 billion. And that compares to a decade previously where CAPEX was $3 billion and the industry had a much better margin to perform from. So let's look at some of the challenges. Challenges in the platinum market. Let's face it, Dieselgate and a few other factors have had impacts on the platinum price itself. Domestically, we've had some fundamental changes, domestic labor strife issues. I'm sure that'll be a big topic of discussion later. Declining new mine supply, increasing growth in recycling, declining productivity in our mines. Obviously, some changes over the last couple of years, but one big issue, rapidly escalating costs. And I know a number of the journalists in the back of the room, and I'm looking at Alan Seacombe and others. You know, when we talk about the cost increases that are coming through, just think about the 29.6% increase that Eskom have got effectively from now until 2021, the impact that feeds through to. So if we look at the numbers, more than 60% of the industry loss-making at current prices, or marginal. Marginal is when companies have a profit-to-revenue ratio of less than 6%, about 89,000 jobs at risk. But if you take the Eskom pricing increases and bear that into account, it takes the number of jobs at risk to more than 100,000 people. So those are people employed on mines that are either marginal or loss-making, and that obviously is a significant issue for the industry as a whole. This slide is just simply showing production and rand prices of platinum, not the basket price. We've got the basket price numbers, but just wanted to highlight fairly interesting correlation between price and production. More importantly, though, is the blue line here, which is the rate of cost increases. The industry as a whole has managed to start constraining cost increases, but just look at the red line, which is the revenue stream in terms of percentage changes on an annual basis, which have obviously been quite challenging for the sector. And that's why I said you've got to fasten your seatbelts when you're working in the platinum sector.